They told me love is something you find, but nobody tells you what happens when love feels like something that is finding you. There's a quiet voice inside that says somewhere out there, she exists, and maybe, just maybe, she's closer than I think. But then life speaks louder. It reminds you of the nights you sleep alone, the empty space beside you, the unanswered messages, the day when hope feels foolish and belief feels dangerous. So you start asking yourself, is this faith, or is this just fear dressed as a dream? Because waiting is hard, believing without proof is harder, and holding on when nothing in front of you makes sense, that takes a different kind of strength today. This is not a story about romance. This is a story about becoming the person who is ready. Even before the miracle arrives, becoming strong enough to trust the unseen and brave enough to keep moving. When your heart feels tired, if you've ever felt like your future is calling you, but you don't know how to reach it yet, then this message is for you, because sometimes what you are waiting for is already walking toward you. There is a kind of hope that does not speak loudly. It does not announce itself to the world. It does not demand attention or ask to be seen. It lives quietly in the background of your life, in the pauses between your thoughts, in the silence after the noise fades, in the moments when you are alone but not empty, tired but still believing, unsure but still standing. This hope does not say much. It simply whispers somewhere. She exists, not as a fantasy, not as a perfect dream, but as a real person, breathing somewhere in the same world, walking through her own storms, carrying her own scars, learning her own lessons, becoming her own strength. And you feel it. You don't know how. You can't explain it. But you feel that your future is not empty, that your story does not end in solitude, that there is a chapter you have not read yet, written by hands you have not touched yet, spoken in a voice you have not heard yet. So you wait, not with desperation, not with anger, but with a quiet faith that refuses to die. You tell yourself, my future wife is closer than she thinks. You repeat it when the nights feel long, when your phone is silent, when your bed feels too big, when your heart wonders if it will ever be chosen. You repeat it when you see couples holding hands, when laughter echoes from places you are not invited to, when love seems to belong to everyone except you, and yet you do not give up, because deep down you believe in something greater than coincidence. You believe in purpose. You believe in timing. You believe that some meetings are too meaningful to be rushed. Still, believing does not make waiting easy. There are moments when doubt creeps in quietly, like a shadow at the edge of your thoughts. It asks questions you don't want to answer. It reminds you of the years that have passed. It reminds you of the people who came and left. It reminds you of the promises that were never kept. It tells you that maybe you are holding on to something that will never come, that maybe you are dreaming too big, that maybe you are waiting for a story that only exists in movies and songs, and sometimes you almost believe it. There are nights when your heart feels heavy for no clear reason, when memories return without warning, when you replay conversations that ended too soon, when you wonder what you did wrong or what you could have done differently. You sit with those thoughts, you let them pass through you, you don't fight them anymore, because you've learned that pain is not the enemy. It is the teacher. Every disappointment has shown you what you truly want. Every heartbreak has revealed what you will never accept again. Every goodbye has carved deeper boundaries around your heart, not to make it colder, but to make it wiser. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are learning the difference between loneliness and solitude. You are learning that being alone does not mean being unloved. You are learning that silence can be peaceful when you stop running from it, and in that quiet, something inside you grows stronger. You begin to understand that waiting is not punishment, it is preparation, that if she had arrived earlier, you would not have been ready. You would have tried to fill your emptiness with her presence. You would have leaned on her to carry what you had not healed. But now, you are doing work. You are facing yourself. You are confronting your fears. You are learning how to sit with your emotions instead of escaping them. You are choosing growth. Even when no one is watching, you are learning how to be gentle with yourself, how to forgive your past, how to release what no longer serves you, and slowly, without realizing it, you are becoming someone who can love deeply without losing himself. You no longer chase validation. You no longer beg for attention. You no longer measure your worth by who chooses you. Your value is not waiting to be discovered by someone else. It already exists within you. You begin to walk differently, speak differently. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, not because you have found love, but because you have found peace. And in that peace, the idea of her feels less like a missing piece and more like a future partner, someone who will walk beside you, not complete you, someone who will add to your life, not define it. You stop rushing the process. You stop asking when. You stop comparing your timeline to others because you understand that the best things arrive when you are no longer desperate for them. You learn to trust the space between now and then. You learn to trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you. You learn to trust that distance does not mean absence. Somewhere, she is also growing. She is also learning. She is also healing. She is becoming the woman who will recognize you when your paths finally cross. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you both became ready at the same time. And until that day comes, you will keep moving forward. Not with fear, not with bitterness, but with a heart that remains open even. After all it has endured, you will keep believing, even when you don't understand. You will keep choosing patience over panic, because the quiet faith in you has never been wrong before, and it is not wrong now. Your future is not far. Your story is still unfolding, and somewhere in the same world, someone is walking closer to you with every step. You just haven't met yet. You do not become ready for love the moment you meet the right person. You become ready long before that moment arrives. You become ready in the days when no one is watching, in the nights when your phone stays silent, in the hours when you choose growth instead of comfort. Most people believe love will change them, that when someone finally chooses them, everything will fall into place. But the truth is quieter. Love does not save you. It reveals you. It reflects who you are. When no one is clapping for you, when no one is staying, when nothing is guaranteed. So before she ever steps into your life, you must step fully into your own. You must learn how to stand without leaning, how to move without being pushed, how to dream without waiting for permission. This is the work no one sees, the discipline when you want to quit, the self-control when temptation whispers, the courage to say no to what feels good but leads nowhere. You begin to understand that becoming is not a destination, it is a daily choice. Every morning you decide who you will be. Every night you reflect on who you are becoming. You stop blaming the world for your delays. You stop waiting for someone to fix what you refuse to face. You take responsibility for your direction, not with anger, not with shame, but with clarity. You begin to ask yourself hard questions. Am I living with purpose, or am I only surviving? Am I building something meaningful, or am I distracting myself from the work? Am I growing, or am I repeating? These questions do not attack you, they wake you. They remind you that your future is not something you stumble into. It is something you shape with every choice. You start choosing yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a truthful way. You protect your energy. You respect your boundaries. You stop giving your heart to people who cannot hold it. You learn that loneliness is not cured by attention. It is healed by purpose. And as your purpose becomes clearer, so does your path. You walk slower. Now, not because you are lost, but because you are aware, you observe, you listen, you grow. You are no longer trying to prove your worth. You are building it, and when she finally arrives, you will not need her to complete you. You will already be whole. You will not hold her to fill a void. You will hold her to share a life. You will not beg for love. You will offer it freely from a place of strength. This is how you become ready, not by waiting, but by becoming. Every day you rise. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every moment you choose progress over comfort, you are stepping closer to the man you are meant to be. And with every step you take toward yourself, you move closer to her. You cannot carry love in hands that are still bleeding. You cannot invite someone into your heart when the rooms inside you are still filled with shadows you have never faced, memories you have never forgiven, wounds you pretend are not there. Most people move forward without ever stopping to look inside. They chase connection, hoping it will quiet the storm. They search for a face that will erase the past. They believe another person will save them from what they refuse to feel, but pain does not disappear when you look away. It waits patiently. It hides in your reactions. It speaks in your silence. It shapes the way you love, the way you leave, the way you protect yourself. So before love can stay, healing must begin. Not all wounds are loud, some are quiet, some are hidden. So deep you forget where they started. Some were given by people who never meant to hurt you. Some were given by people who never cared. You carry stories no one sees, moments you never speak of, words that still echo when you are alone, dreams that were broken before they could grow. You learned to survive. You learned to smile when your chest was heavy. You learned to say, "You are fine," when you were falling apart. And you became strong. But strength does not mean you are healed. It only means you learned how to carry the weight. Healing begins when you finally allow yourself to set it down. You start by listening to yourself, not the voice that judges, not the voice that fears, but the quiet voice that knows what you have been running from. You sit with your memories instead of burying them. You allow your emotions instead of numbing them. You let yourself feel the sadness, the anger, the confusion, because emotions are not the enemy. They are the language of your heart. You begin forgive, not because they were right, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You stop replaying the past as if it can change. You stop blaming yourself for what you did not know. You stop carrying guilt that was never yours to hold. You learn that healing is not forgetting, it is remembering without bleeding. Some days are harder than others. Some nights feel heavier. Some memories return without warning. But now you face them with compassion instead of fear. You speak to yourself with kindness. You treat your heart with patience. You give yourself the grace you once searched for in others. You no longer expect love to fix you. You no longer ask someone to fill your emptiness. You understand now that love is not a cure, it is a connection, and connection thrive in hearts that are free, not wounded. So you keep healing, you keep growing, you keep choosing yourself. Every tear becomes a release, every lesson becomes a step forward, every scar becomes proof that you survived. You make peace with who you were, you honor who you are becoming, you trust who you are meant to be. And one day, when love arrives, you will be ready to hold it without fear. You have never truly understood timing until you have waited for something you cannot see. You have never truly felt the weight of patience until the universe has asked you to trust in the invisible, to walk forward with no map, to keep moving when everything inside you wants to stop, to keep believing when every outward sign says you should give up. Most people think they understand time because they can measure it in hours, days, months, years. But time in the heart is not measured in calendars or clocks. It is measured in growth, in healing, in the quiet accumulation of strength and character, in the unseen moments that shape who you will become before the person you are waiting for ever steps into your life. You see, life has a way of teaching you things you do not yet understand. It has a way of preparing you for what is coming without telling you why, and every delay, every moment of silence, every feeling of uncertainty is not a punishment. It is not a mistake. It is the careful, invisible hand of preparation. You are learning to trust the unseen timing of the world. You are learning that just because you cannot see the path ahead, it does not mean it does not exist. You are learning that absence is not the opposite of presence, but often the precursor to the most meaningful encounter of your life. There are nights when you stare at the ceiling and feel the weight of longing pressing against your chest. When you think about the person who does not yet exist in your life and wonder if the universe has forgotten you, when hope feels fragile like a glass thread stretched across the vastness of your fear, and yet, even in those moments, there is something inside you that refuses to break. A small voice whispers that the distance is not forever, that the waiting has meaning, that the universe is not careless with your heart, and that small voice is stronger than you realize because it has been there through every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment. You thought you could not go on. you begin to understand that timing is not about arriving early or late. It is about becoming ready. It is about creating the conditions within yourself so that when the moment finally arrives, you can meet it fully with open eyes, with open hands, with a heart that can hold love without trembling, without fear, without compromise. You look back and see the moments that shaped you without your permission, the moments that tested you in ways that felt unfair, the moments when you had to choose courage over comfort, when you had to walk alone instead of following the crowd, when you had to face the truth about yourself without the support of anyone else, and you realize those moments were not punishment. They were preparation. They were the universe shaping you into someone who could recognize the love that is meant for you. Someone who could hold it without breaking. Someone who could offer it freely and fully. You begin to see patterns you never noticed before. Small synchronicity, quiet signs, subtle hints that the universe is working in ways you cannot always understand. A chance encounter that feels insignificant at the time becomes meaningful later. A conversation that seems trivial plants a seed of insight that blossoms months or years later. A heartbreak that feels unbearable teaches lessons about boundaries, resilience, and self-respect that no one else could teach. You realize that the waiting is not empty, it is full of lessons, full of growth, full of preparation, full of the person you are becoming. And the more you trust the unseen timing, the lighter your heart becomes. You stop clinging to outcomes. You stop forcing doors that are not yet meant to open. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop asking why it is taking so long. Instead, you begin to focus on yourself, on your growth, on your healing, on becoming the person who can walk confidently into love rather than chase it. Desperately, you practice patience not as a test of endurance, but as a practice of faith. Faith that the universe does not act randomly. Faith that the moments of silence have meaning. Faith that what is meant for you will find you in its own time, in its own way, in a way that will be perfect because you are ready for it. You start to notice the small things that matter. Quiet morning, a calm walk, a thoughtful word, a moment of stillness. You learn that the world is not always loud and obvious, and that the quiet signals are often the most important. You begin to understand that timing is invisible. It cannot be measured by your calendar or your expectations. It is measured by readiness, by growth, by the alignment of two people who have become whole on their own before they meet. And you see that this is true for every kind of love, not just romantic, the love of friendship, the love of family, the love of purpose, the love of self. All of it requires timing, the right moment to act, the right moment to speak, the right moment to open your heart is never forced. It arrives naturally in alignment with your growth and the readiness of those involved. So you learn to trust the silence, trust the delay, trust the unseen hands that guide your path, even when you cannot understand, even when you cannot see, even when the days feel long and the nights feel empty. You begin to let go of impatience. You stop questioning every delay. You stop blaming yourself for not having everything you desire, yet you stop thinking that the wait is a reflection of your worth. You realize the wait is a reflection of preparation, and preparation is a gift you give yourself. And with every day that passes, you grow stronger, you grow wiser, you grow more patient, more resilient, more capable of deep, authentic love. You learn that timing is never wrong, that life has a rhythm you cannot always understand, but that rhythm is always moving all closer to what you are meant to have. You begin to see that the person you are waiting for is also being prepared, that they are learning their lessons, walking their own path, growing, healing, becoming ready for the meeting that the universe is arranging silently, carefully, perfectly. And in this understanding, your heart changes. It softens without weakening. It opens without fear. It holds hope without desperation. You see that love is not about rushing. It is about arriving. It is about the perfect alignment of two people who have chosen to become whole on their own before they come together. It is about trust, faith, patience, and understanding that some things cannot be hurried without being lost. You learn to live in the present fully. deeply without clinging to the future or regretting the past, because you know that every moment, even the ones that feel empty, has meaning. Every day, even the ones filled with struggle, is shaping you for the love that is coming. You begin to notice beauty in the waiting, the way the sun rises and sets, the quiet moments of reflection, the lessons you learn in solitude, the strength that grows when no one is watching, and you realize that when the time finally comes, you will meet love with a heart that is capable, strong, open, and free. You will meet it not because you chased it, not because you begged for it, not because you were desperate, but because you became ready, because you learned patience, trust, and faith in unseen and timing, because you learned that love is not a reward, but a reflection of the person you have become. And so you continue step by step, day by day, moment by moment. Trust the unseen timing. You trust that life knows more than you do. You trust that the universe is not careless with your heart. You trust that the distance, the waiting, the silence, the delays, they all have a purpose, and you keep moving forward. Not in desperation, not in fear, not in doubt, but with faith, patience, and quiet certainty that what is meant for you will arrive, and it will arrive perfectly because you are ready for it, and because the timing has been measured with the care of a universe that has never been wrong.